little bit about me. I'm the daughter of an artist, a professional artist. I'm also, on my father's side, the daughter of an entrepreneur and a businessman. And that leads to stories of me, on one hand, coming home from school and walking in and seeing in my front yard a live nude model saying, "Hey girl," and a bunch of artists standing around. And on the other side, going to a board meeting with my father on a Saturday. So I led a life of a lot of combinations of different things growing up. And what that came out for me in the end was a passion for music and the arts, and also a drive to be involved in business and entrepreneurialism. And one of the things that I really want is I want this community to thrive in arts and culture, and I want to thrive economically. And that's one of the things that drives me from my core, and one of the reasons why SpokesBUZZ was created. One of the things that I find amazing about Fort Collins is the quality of life. Not only do we have incredible businesses, but we have this arts and cultural organizations and galleries and musicians and all those things that make it a wonderful place for us to spend time day to day. The weekends we go down to the city, and in the downtown we have live music, we have the First Fridays, and it's a thriving community. And I really believe, kind of like feed your local agricultural economy, we need to feed our local arts economy. And SpokesBUZZ wants to try and help propel that forward. Without a thriving art scene, we lose economically, and we lose in terms of the businesses that come here, the Otterboxes of the world, the New Belgiums of the world, the people who come here not because it's the most inexpensive place to have their business, but because it's a place where their employees want to be, and they want to live, and they want their children to grow up in. And so that is something that drives me day to day. And through my life, I've tried to strive to merge my career with my passions. And that passion for music and the passion for the community is something that I've always worked towards bringing together. And I've been able to do that. I started off purely business, and little by little, over some volunteer opportunities that came to me, I was able to start merging those two things through working as a volunteer on festivals and that kind of stuff. And then Bohemian Nights offered me a position to manage the festival in 2008, and that was an incredible eye-opening experience for me when I realized that working and doing project management in an industry that I love, that feels like fun and play, was where I wanted to go. And so after managing that festival, I really wanted to continue doing more in the music industry. Plus at Chippers Lanes, I got involved with many emerging artists by booking them at an emerging artist stage at Chippers Lanes. And that's when I realized how incredibly rich this community is with musicians, and diverse musicians, not just the bluegrass and the jam bands, but we have the alternative, and we have the reggae, and we have all sorts of bands that are living in Fort Collins, and they're struggling to survive here in this community because there aren't as many venue opportunities here, and we aren't driving ticket buyers to come see them play. So this whole experience, my life experience, gave me a clear understanding of the community. And after the management of Bohemian Nights, for the first time I went to the South by Southwest Music Festival. Is anybody aware of what that festival is in Austin, Texas? It's an amazing festival. It draws 35,000 people over 10 days to Austin to study the innovation and the technical stuff, and then music and film. And I went down to this festival, and I walked around, and I went into some showcases for places like New Zealand and the UK and Memphis and Nashville, and I walked in and I said, "What are we doing? We've got so much to share about Fort Collins. We need to be there. We need to be represented." So when I got home, I got to work on trying to bring a plan together to bring Fort Collins and our artists to South by Southwest. But shockingly, I ran into a lot of obstacles and a lot of hurdles and a lot of roadblocks, and I was completely frustrated. And I thought to myself, whatever, I'm not going to do this. And then a very good friend of mine, I'll never forget this, I'm watching one of my daughters in her gymnastics class, and my phone rings, and it's my friend Katie Hoffner. And she calls me at a moment where I'm really thinking about just bailing on all these ideas, and she says to me, "What are you thinking? You just have to go. It's all about radical collaboration." And I was like, "Radical, what is that?" And so we talked about it, and what that means to me, radical collaboration, is doing things not based on the bottom line, not based on politics, not based on anything else about what's happening in the community. It's about what's right and what we should be doing and what we feel passionate about. And that is radical collaboration to me. And that is how we got started with SpokesBUZZ, by bringing in people. You know, we created a video. And this was a video that includes a lot of people from the community who joined us to talk about Fort Collins, to talk about SpokesBUZZ, and talk about things. All of the music in this video is by the artists who are part of SpokesBUZZ, and all the comments were donated to this cause. And I think it's an incredible expression of radical collaboration. If you could play that video.
SpokesBUZZ is a passion. It's a passion for music, and it's a passion for the city of Fort Collins.
SpokesBUZZ is really cool in that it's not only bringing bands together and helping bands in their career, but it's also bringing kind of the whole community of Fort Collins together.
What SpokesBUZZ does is it helps to bring the extraordinary arts and music community that Fort Collins has to an audience outside of Fort Collins, and helps to build the reputation of Fort Collins.
SpokesBUZZ handles a lot of management for us, so they do a lot of press, they're on the street, they're doing graphic design, they're helping us get shows.
That's what SpokesBUZZ does a great job of doing, is helping these bands figure out how to navigate the rails and how to run their band more like a business.
SpokesBUZZ is a little bit of an incubation source in helping these bands understand how to really leverage their strengths and their potential, learn how to operate more as a professional musician.
We provide all of the things that a management company would provide without any contract. We just give them the tools. We give them the knowledge.
It's marketing, it's advertising, promotions, understanding the financial side, all those kinds of things that can trip a startup company, including a band, up in the first couple of years of operations.
If you can get the creative piece all locked and dialed and have that business acumen, then there's really no stopping you.
Because of SpokesBUZZ, we were able to raise up our status in the, in the scene of like musicians who are like, oh my God, you played South by Southwest.
Fort Collins is a great live music destination, but it's not well known around the country. What SpokesBUZZ is doing is taking our musical assets and making them nationally known, taking them to places like South by Southwest, and let people know that we were a great music destination, and quite honestly, help us reach a new audience that we otherwise weren't reaching.
The idea of South by Southwest being such a marquee event for musicians to attend seemed critical to get those folks down there. And so it just made great sense when we heard the proposal for SpokesBUZZ to get behind that.
We'll work with unsigned bands and use our industry connections to try to get them in front of labels, get them in front of the appropriate people.
You get some serious publicity and direction from somebody, and from that also comes like inspiration.
Fort Collins just has a very unique flair, a major university, a great downtown, great companies like New Belgium. This is just a great place to live.
It's like a culture thing. It's the bikes, it's the beer, it's the fresh air, it's the mountain, this is the music.
And partly too, I mean, there's just an enormous number of musicians here. The FoCo MX did 186 bands, I think, so I mean, that's ridiculous for a town this size. It's a good scene.
So you got bluegrass, you got jazz, you got funk, you got hip hop, you got reggae.
We want to try to help it coalesce right now, which I think is a lot of what SpokesBUZZ is about, like trying to build it up.
The response from the community and beyond the community has been absolutely huge.
It's not something that's purely philanthropic, that's throwing some money in arts and culture. It's much bigger than that. It goes into economic development such that $1 invested in SpokesBUZZ will come back into the community.
To me, it's like supporting the scene and doing something different and doing it organically in a way where you can put kind of a smaller town on the map just by virtue of like making a lot of noise.
So that is a good understanding of what SpokesBUZZ is and about the folks who pitched in to try and help us move together. You know, companies like New Belgium, who had very little information but had a good gut instinct about what we were trying to do and the purity of it, got behind us. A-Train Marketing, the Fort Collins Music Association, which is an organization that supports local musicians, Zero Hero, the DBA, the Convention and Visitors Bureau, Summit Studios, and the City of Fort Collins, all just working together without any true understanding of where this was going to take us, but believing that just making some noise outside of our living room was going to bring us some more attention and drive something to the City of Fort Collins that's going to support the arts and cultural community as well as help propel our economics. You know, and I've met a ton of radical leaders in this community, and I feel like now is the time. You know, the train is moving, people are getting on board, and the City of Fort Collins is starting to really gain some traction nationally, and it really inspires me, and I hope that these kinds of things inspire you as you walk through our downtown and you see what's happening down there to get involved and support, like we ask you to support your local agriculture, support your local arts and culture. So after we got back from South by Southwest the first time, we brought 6 bands there. We had 250 RSVPs. We were super excited. The energy was great. 6 of our bands were there in the action at South by Southwest. It provided more opportunities. One of the bands, Candy Claus, ended up in the top 100 of NPR's Best Albums of the Year. We were very, very excited. We created the nonprofit, the 501c3, and we decided to really go forward with the mission. We have a 100% volunteer board that's made up of industry professionals across the community who all put their efforts in. And the mission is really a grassroots nonprofit that promotes the City of Fort Collins through local live music. And we create an incubator in order to try and propel those musicians and give them what they need to know to become more successful out there. And one of the models that we use, although this type of nonprofit is fairly brand new and unique, I haven't found anything like it, but there's a label called Sub Pop out of Seattle that's very famous for pushing the Seattle grunge scene through marketing, press, and PR. And we model ourselves after that, and we think, you know, wouldn't it be nice if we have a Nirvana as well? So we'll give some incubation to these bands and see if they can make it to the next level. And also the piece that's really fulfilling is that when we go out and we have these platforms, we have this great long table where we invite all of our partners, our arts and cultural organizations that don't have the money necessarily to buy a booth at the Sustainable Living Fair or at the Small Batch Festival, and we present them there. And they have an opportunity to be seen, and we talk about what they're doing in our community. And so it creates a platform for us. The draw is the live music. The platform is available to anybody who wants to partner and show what Fort Collins has going on. It's a wonderful opportunity. So as we went out to South by Southwest, it was incredible. Year 2, with the class of 2011, we brought our 6 bands, plus we brought 5 more bands from the City of Fort Collins. And we made our presence in Fort Collins, and we actually transplanted our culture to that venue, which was incredible. And we went from 250 RSVPs to 4,000 RSVPs. And we really increased the number of people who were trying to figure out what's happening in the City of Fort Collins and how interesting is it. And then the newspaper articles coming out about what's happening here. And so for us, that's success, and that's driving attention to us and bringing people in. And being alongside the showcases that are there, like the United Kingdom and New Zealand and Memphis, and all of that just really makes me proud. And I remember this one moment when we had all the bands come down, and part of it was to make sure they all made it, because they get there on their own, they tour in, and you know, we want to kind of do a little head count. Is everybody there the night before the showcase? And we're there in this restaurant, and I see the leaders who are helping us do it, the volunteers who have come down there, the artists who have gotten there, all together in Austin, just incredibly proud and bursting with what's yet to come for us. And that is a moment that I think I'll never forget. And I hope that we continue to bring that, and hope that we can do it in multiple locations in the nation to bring Fort Collins outside. So the moment of bringing all the individuals together brings me forward. Where do we go from here? How can we help each other? How can we support each other in a mode of radical collaboration rather than who's getting what and who's getting the credit and who's getting the attention? And so we can feel it happening. And when you start to support and promote a band, you see them step up. You see them start to rise to the occasion. And I truly believe that when you start to support a community and a city, that the same thing happens. And we're starting to see leaders emerge and people start being proud of what's happening here culturally and start to promote what's happening. And I think that that's an amazing thing, and we all should be excited for that. Other things that we're doing are things like working with local venues and revitalizing the Mishawaka. And that's a direct intention of trying to bring an opportunity, a landmark destination to the city of Fort Collins where we have national bands coming through our area, and we put them together with our local bands and we share with them what's happening in Fort Collins at a tourist attraction in our northern Colorado area. So join us, get on the train, have some fun, and we'll see you out there in the community supporting. Thanks.